Okay, so the next question is about characters, which I know you've already answered. So you can answer if you want. How did you come up with your character names, especially you, Sarah, since yours are, unique? And were they the ones that came out in the book? Were they actually the ones that you originally had, or did you have to change names?
Names. With Selena's name, some of the names I didn't have to change, but then some were just way too many vowels in a row, A-E-I-O-U, with a few consonants.
Wheel of Fortune.
It was kind of weird names that I couldn't even pronounce, and Bloomsbury was do you mind making this just a little less terrifying, fantasy-ish? So I changed some of them, and I'm really glad I did, because I was never too attached to some of the names, location names, minor character names. As for how I came up with them, was that one of the questions? I guess, let's see, with Selena's name,
Got it from
I got it from, so I'm the biggest fan of The Last Unicorn, both the movie and the book, and when I first started writing the story, or imagining the story, I knew that, Selena was an assassin, but I didn't have a badass type of name for her, and so I was looking through mythology, and was it that, God, it's espresso is hitting me in the way where my brain has stopped working.
It's one of the harpies?
Yeah, okay, so the harpy.
I'm trying to remind
No,
you.
I'm trying to remember if I was looking through mythology and I recognized the name from The Last Unicorn, or if I took it if I remembered it from The Last Unicorn. But so basically there's a harpy in The Last Unicorn named Seleno. And I looked it up, what that name meant, and it was a harp, that's an actual harpy from Greek mythology, whose name means dark one. And so I was oh, that sounds great for an assassin, but Seleno, with an O on the end, sounds like a burly Italian man. So being really creative and 16 years old, I was I'll just swap the O for an A. And that's kind of how her name was born.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! And then Dorian, I feel I had just read Oscar Wilde's Dorian Gray in high school, and I was he's hot. I like this name, it's sexy. So
the espresso has hit Sarah. Additionally, Ben Barnes would play an excellent Dorian.
Yeah, Ben Barnes
from the movie Dorian Gray.
Yeah, damn. Please don't. They make weird kissy noises of Ben Barnes. I feel I don't know, they're random things. I could tell you lots of stories that are boring, and Cat will fall asleep. She's cold and bored. What was the other part of the question?
That was it.
Was that
Yeah.
it? Oh. Ta-da!
Wait, was that just a Sarah question?
No, it was for it was for everybody.
It's for everyone, but she's the one with the fantasy names.
The weird names.
Yeah.
Hers are harder. Shoot.
Mine was Eva. Eva, isn't it in Hebrew that Eva means life?
Because I'm the token Jew.
Yes. What would we know? I suspected that you would know.
I'm offended right now.
No, she's not.
If you had a Mandarin question, you would ask
I would
me.
never.
I
would never ask you.
I would.
Yes.
I would.
But
I don't you're asking the worst possible Jew these questions.
Okay, well, Eva means life, and I'd read
Oh, she knows it already. She knows
This is why I had a bat mitzvah to learn nothing.
It's from, I think the reason I knew is I read The Devil's Arithmetic, which is about the Holocaust, but the characters in it, her name was Eva, and it meant the breath of life, and so that's why my main character is named Eva. The rest of them, I don't know, I just came up randomly. Lissa's named Lissa because my friend who sat in front of me in chemistry, where I first came up with this, wrote part of this story, was named Alyssa, and I was I'm just going to chop off and getting your name.
Does she know that?
Yeah, she knows that.
That's cool.
The only thing that's changed is Addie used to only have one D, and they made me change it to have two Ds, and I never realized why, because they're we're mixing up the two names, they look too similar, and I'm they look nothing alike. But then I realized they were pronouncing Eva as Ava, and then Addie as 80.
Oh, Jesus.
And so it's Ava and 80, and they're super similar. So I was no, it's Eva and Addie. But then they made me add an extra D, so it's
It's more traditional too, so other readers might.
It's kind of funny
Get it
because I
quicker.
can tell how old my drafts are, if I
By the
put
names.
one D or two. Yeah.
I don't really have a fancy answer. Most of my characters are just named because it sounds right, but Gray was picked because I think he's a very Gray character in general.
He is. He's morally
He's morally ambiguous, I think, at least, and I think a lot of themes in the second book especially and further on in the series just a lot of like people are towing a line between doing something that's right, but is it really the best way to do it? So he's really the only person I put thought into. You put thought into all of them, but most of them are just like, this name feels right, whereas his, I made a conscious decision. Look at you, just learned something about my book.
No,
Sarah.
I never knew that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I love him so much.
Ta-da!
Eleanor.
all the ta-das.
My turn. Eleanor, don't you dare. Eleanor Fit, I have no idea. Her name just literally came to me, and throughout the book...
Did you have Misfit?
Yeah,
No, I
Misfit.
did not realize that until the end, when Eleanor realizes the character that her name is Misfit.
Was it Chills?
I was just like, wow, that's
I like just
perfect.
assumed you did it on
I
purpose.
totally
It
never
worked
noticed
so
it, and
perfectly.
that's one of those things where it's this weird external muse inspiration
Genius,
of it's the right story, and when the right story comes out, those little things suddenly fall
Does
into
everybody
place.
get this? I feel like some people didn't. Like, her last name is Fit, so people call her Miss Fit.
Throughout the
Misfit.
book, they call her
Yeah.
Misfit, and Misfit, and at the end, she
feels
realizes
like
her name
Misfit,
sounds like Misfit. So, yeah, I don't know. I always had her name, Eleanor. All of them, I just had their names from the beginning. Although, Kat told me later, she was like, I don't know that Chinese name.
Yeah, Jia. It means older sister in
What is
Chinese.
it? How do you say it?
Jia.
I can't do the nice tonal thing. I just
say
make it.
G.
I just make that American sound.
Gia?
Jia.
Gia. Gia. Like Gia. Gia.
It means older
Like
sister.
Ryan Lochte?
I know.
I mean, there could be different ways of pronouncing
That's
it.
what I thought, but I thought, yeah,
Someone
no,
got that.
I wasn't listening. I tuned you out. I'm sorry.
Ryan Lochte's like catchphrase was like Gia.
Oh.
Like a J. It's like a thing.
We've derailed it.
Sorry.
It's gone there.
No, I will say though, in the novella that just came out yesterday, there's a ship. The Mississippi steamer is named after Sarah.
Oh, not a Cleveland one.
Not a. Oh, you're going.
That train just crashed. Derailed.
All right, ignore them. Move on.
All right. Well, all of your books are like very different. How does it feel when like a reader comes in, especially like one of these events, and they have all your books to sign?
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, we just like we throw dollar bills. It's money time. We put all our books.
No, there was someone
really
last
good.
night at the event that bought one of everyone's, and it was just.
Yeah, and like she like couldn't even like buy them all like then, so she had asked the bookstore to like put them on like layaway, like she
On hold,
specifically.
yeah. Are you
kidding?
Yeah,
she couldn't
specifically
afford them
like
all at
talked
once.
to her to like, and because we had such a nice event manager, right? Like not everybody would do that, but she talked her into putting them on layaway, so she could buy them like.
I'm gonna
one
come
at a
in once
time.
each month after I get paid, so I can get your books like one at a
I
time.
know. I was also
know.
like, we just buy these books.
I kept
for
telling her,
you.
I gave her a bookmark. I was like, you can just check it out of the library if you want. She's like, oh no, I will own these all. I was like, okay, all right.
God, you should have told. I would have just like gone and
was
like
that
paid.
girl
I would
with
have just
the
like
really-
paid the whole thing.
The
So
one with the
would
really
she-
beautiful name, like.
Obviously, I think some people, only like one genre. They only like fantasy. They only like dystopian. But a lot of people, like us, we all like all of them. And so I feel like we all have something similar that makes us best friends. And a lot of readers can like all four of our books.
Yeah.
It's
I think
not
we
a
come from like a
guarantee.
very similar like
But-
pop cultural like
origin.
or like like we can like make random movie references to things and like get it and maybe that like somehow
I
the
feel
things
like
that
we're
bind
very
us like
similar
connect
people.
into our books. I don't
Oh,
know. It's like an
close.
undercurrent
Close.
of like
Yeah,
similar energy.
Yeah, I feel like our voices go well together, and maybe that appeals to
Well, and I
people.
think YA in general is always about a character finding themselves, and all of our books have that theme.
for sure.
So I think anyone that's like a really avid reader could read any of our books
Well,
and like
I
it.
feel
But
like
it's just
our,
so
like-
fun when someone like we love each other's books so much. So when someone buys all four, like inside. I'm like excited they bought mine, but mostly I'm like, I can't wait for them to meet Selena, or I can't wait for this.
But I feel
part
like
to
our
happen.
main characters like would all be friends too.
Except for
Like-
Selena, who would kill
No,
them
no, I
all.
feel like
Selena and Gray
No.
would be besties.
Selena and Gray like might date, like, and it would be like really weird. Like I don't even want to like go there like emotionally with you.
we like went there originally when you first read my book and I read yours. We were like, they'd be best friends.
Yeah, they would be best friends, maybe with benefits.
Alright, it's getting weird. It's getting weird.
It would be weird, but like, and then like I feel like Selena and Eleanor would be friends. They would like burn Philadelphia to the ground by accident.
By accident.
Accident. Oops. Burned it to ash and dust.
Yeah.
Anna and Eva would be friends. They'd be the quiet ones.
Yeah,
They'd be
you
like,
two would
they'd
be
be like,
great
who are these
friends.
other weirdos?
Let's just go sit here and be outsiders.
Let's
Yeah.
go play music in a corner and hang out and be peaceful.
In the dark.
Yeah, well, Gray, Eleanor, and Selena destroy the world. You guys would be like quietly rebuilding it and like, contributing in meaningful ways.
I know.
We would just be like
destruction.
derailing. They would derail the entire world.
This says a lot too about us as people. I think you two being wonderful and lovely, and us.
And us with our accents.
Don't
We won't do
start.
that. Anyway, yeah, that's our answer.
Okay, this might be an easy question, but might not. What's the best YA book that you've read recently?
Sugar snap peas.
I like literally have to go on Goodreads and look at what I read recently.
Best YA I've read recently. God.
I don't read a lot of YA. to be
Yeah, I don't
honest.
read a lot of YA these days, like at all. I feel like the last one I read was maybe. I mean, it's not out like one that's like published. Maybe Freud of the Exiles. Lena Marchetta. That might be. Is that the last one I read?
Darkest Minds.
I still.
Oh,
read
The Darkest. No, I feel like I read The Darkest Minds like in draft form as a critique partner.
I still read a ton of YA.
Yeah, you do.
I just finished their sequel, and it was, I mean, I'm not just saying this because you're here, it was absolutely fantastic, and I literally had, like, chills all over my body by the ending. And then in a completely different genre, I just read an arc of The Distance Between Us by Casey West, and that's, like, a very sweet contemporary that sort of, she feels like Stephanie Perkins in style, and, like, it's just a really, really, really sweet contemporary. It was, like, Pretty in Pink meets Stephanie Perkins.
I read Fangirl.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, yeah.
I want that one.
Yeah, I thought that
I'm
was
excited
pretty
about
great.
I haven't read in a while.
But like,
I have,
is that
finals.
like YA? Because I feel like reading that, like
It's
that
like
felt
new
like new
adult,
adult, like
yeah.
like what at least people are defining new adult to be.
Because she's at college, right?
Yeah, she like
Yeah.
it starts with her going to college, and she like nailed the college experience. So not like really my experience, but I could like
But a
like
college
it felt very like I could understand it and like believe in it. What else?
I haven't read in
The
a while.
last
I've been
YA
so
book
busy.
I read was like Blood Red Road by Maas.
Oh, that book
which
is
excellent.
fantastic. I read that years ago, or
like the
2 years
last
ago.
Would you consider it? Because I read
Never Fade was really
Keturah and Lord Death.
That's
That
YA.
Because I read
That's
that
old
based on
though.
your recommendation, but then it didn't like. Could have been YA, but it could have like not been YA.
It's YA, but it was published like in the early 90s, I think, so it's
Are
a...
we like digging
Feels
ourselves
different.
into a giant grave by like saying we don't read that much?
I read a
like
ton
my
of
like
YA,
my like
so-
my like drug of choice is like adult paranormal romance, and adult fantasy. That's like usually what I like. If I have a spare moment, like that's what I'm reading. Like Nalini Singh, Sharon Shin, Thea Harrison, J.R. Ward. I'm obsessed with J.R.
Oh, I
Ward.
love her books.
I read like the day the latest one came, Lover at Last came, I was just like, goodbye world, I'm done. Like I'm not even gonna talk to anybody until I'm done with this book. And it was so good. I love her books. If I ever meet her, like I will actually like fall on the ground, like hysterically crying. Because like her books and like Nalini Singh's books have like gotten me through writing my own books. Or like I would be so tired at the end of like a hard day of drafting and just like lose myself in their worlds, and like it just was like very like inspiring and reminded me why I love to like read and why I love to write. So like meeting them, like I would just lose it. And while we're on this tour, Nalini Singh, who is my spirit animal, is actually, she lives in New Zealand and she is touring the US, and at every single stop where we are, she is either there. I mean, I don't think she's coming to Baltimore, but like LA, Chicago,
Are we missing her
New
by, like, a
York.
day or
It's
something?
Yeah,
like
we're
by
missing-
like days,
Yeah.
like a day or two.
Are you like bleeding inside?
Like when I actually cried when I saw, because like I think she was at Mysterious Galaxy in California, like
The day after you left or something.
yeah, and
So
then
you're,
like she's gonna be in Chicago either like 2 days before. I think she's gonna be in Chicago the day before we go. So it sucks.
Another
First
time.
world problems, but it sucks.
Yeah.
So I'll just like write her a letter in my blood. With, like
That's
my
not
skin.
creepy at all. Cut that part from it.
one fan.
Love Sarah.
Sarah. Write more books, or I'll burn your house down. Oh well, JK.
That was amazing.
I've gotten that.
No, I know. It was,
I've
like,
gotten that
a
thing.
translation. It was like a foreign reader who told Sarah that they'd burn her house if she didn't write more books. But I
They
think they
tweeted
thought
at
it
me.
would like wow.
It'd be funny, but they were like, if you don't write the next book, I'm gonna burn your house down.
I think it was. I really don't think they knew that it sounded like a threat how they said it. It was
No.
like clearly like
No, it was
some
like
adoring fan.
lost in translation, but like I don't know. You can never take things like
You
too
were like,
lightly. So
lucky for you, yes. There is a sequel.
I think it was lucky for
Lucky for me.
Lucky for me, there's a sequel.
And I will still have my head.
But if my house ever burns down, I favorited it, so go into my account and you'll find it.
I guess one more question. It's about like your writing style. Do you guys like when you write? Do you outline so you know like what's going to happen, or do you just wing it?
We do like the headlights thing, where like we kind of know like the basic. I mean, it's for everyone,
Landmarks.
but we
I
kind
don't
of
know
know like
about
the
you, Jodi, yeah, but we've
we know
answered
kind of
this
like the
lately.
basic main like.
I mean,
plot
I have
points.
the outline because my editor always wants an outline.
Do you
Um,
stick to yourself?
No, not always. But like, it's a nice road. It's like a road map that like it's like our road map that we don't always follow.
I think the three of us are a little.
I mean,
more
like we
the
know
same.
like usually like the big plot points and like kind of like a vague idea of the ending, maybe like a more solid idea of the ending, but then the getting there, it's kind of like a headlights thing. We like just
Yeah.
take it day by day and like only as far as we can see. And like I at least like at the end of every day when I'm done with writing, I'll write down the next few scenes that I have in mind, and like where it's going. So then the next day I don't just sit down and be like, what happens next?
I
And
do
be
that
like,
when
okay,
I'm not on
doing this, this, and
contract.
this.
Like I'm working on a work in progress that's totally like not part of the Hybrid Chronicles, and like so I have no expectations, and that's how I write for that. Like I feel like I just when I'm on a deadline, I need to know where I'm going, so I don't waste like 2 hours being like, what am I doing? Let's check my email, you know. I don't know. How do you write? Do you outline a lot?
I do more outlining now than I used to.
Yeah.
I used to do the headlights thing, and it did not work for me at
Really?
all. I wrote 16 manuscripts like that, but nobody wanted, so.
Wow. See, like I did, like they tried to make me do an outline for book 2, and I wrote one, and I completely, not surprisingly, derailed that outline because I just like I couldn't I learn a lot of things as I'm writing, and I just can't.
Yeah.
Or
It's
I
so
just
interesting like how like different it is. Like,
I often find too that I'll be like, yeah, my character is gonna do X, and then I get to that point, and my character's like, screw you, I'm gonna do Y.
Or I'm like, my character wouldn't actually do X.
At
Right.
this point, like
It's-
their
see, yeah, at
emotional
this point,
state
and- or-
isn't at the right
ew,
place.
drink it,
Yeah, you
drink
put
it.
cheers,
Cheers.
Or like if you put in an outline, it'll be like they go from point A to point B, and then you get to point
You're
A,
like,
and
how?
you're like, how the hell did they get to point
Yeah.
B? It seems so easy in the outline, and now I'm there, and it's like, what?
In the outline, you just say they get there.
Yeah, and now I'm there, and I need to invent a whole new mythology, and like I have to
Yeah.
look into the history of X, Y, Z.
I
and
literally
then-
have outlines of like characters come up with brilliant plans.
I
at
know,
this
I
point.
know.
And then I reach and I'm like, well, now I have to come up with a brilliant plan. Let's just not have this situation
I know,
at
exactly.
all.
Let's just forget that.
Yeah.
I think this has come up a lot in our workshops too, though, that there's
No right way.
There's no right way. We all do it a little differently, and sometimes we even do it differently per story. Like
Yeah.
some stories require to be outlined, and some you just wing it. So I think that's like the theme of writing in general, that whatever works for you is it's such a personal experience, and whatever you do that helps you get the story down is the right way.
Makes sense.
There was somebody said, you don't learn how to write books, you learn how to write this book.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah, that
nice.
seems really good to me.
That does seem really good. Hooray!
Thank you.
everything?
Yeah, thank you
Great.
so much.
Thank you. Those are good questions. We
Sorry we
probably
talked so long.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's okay. I like to talk,
started a
so.
little late. We were just kind of rambling and eating cupcakes, so.
I brought my Kindle
I
with me
felt
just in
guilty
case.
about all the